Assalamu alaikum. Today we will show you how to prepare the hives, mainly the most important detail for how to fix the wax foundation inside the frames that will be the basis of the swarm. All brood, all honey, all bee bread that the bees we produced inside the hives, they used the wax combs. And for using the wax comb, we need to fix, we need to handle it, and we need to prepare correctly the wax foundation on the frames. And this kind of thing we will show you in details in our workshop in Fujairah. Let's go with us, go together. One of most important action to do before starting to implant the apiaries, bring the bees and installing inside the hive, we need to prepare the hive. And how can we proceed? The first and most important thing, we need to stand and add the wire on the board, the wood board of the frame. We need to stand the wire, in our case is stainless steel, for be the support for the filter wax comb that the bees will build. Then we need first to include the wire, and when the wire is here, we need to use a spreadsheet of wax foundation. This is a standard wax foundation sheet. It has for each side around 2,800 cells. At the total, in both sides, we have 5,600 cells. Then, this is the number of cells that the bees can use it for storage honey, for storage pollen, for storage bee bread, for produce brood in the frames. We have in one frame only 5,600 cells in both sides. If we go to the fields, we will see that around 20% of the comb, the wax comb already built, the bees use it at the top, the same thing, food, honey and bee bread. Only 80% of the surface of the frame is used for producing new bees, for producing broods. Then we have 5,060 cells in both sides for one frame, less minus 20%. We have a total here around 4,500 cells available for create brood. On down, because on the top we will have food, honey and bee bread. If we multiply 5,500 cells in one frame by 10 frames, we have a total of 45,000 cells available for the bees producing brood. And if we have a good queen, a new queen with a good disposition for laying eggs, laying around from 2 until 3,000 eggs per day, in 25 days, this bee will occupy all hive with brood. But we need to remember that the complete life cycle of a worker bee is only 21 days for burning. Then one nest is more than sufficient, containing 10 frames for one good queen laying eggs. And it's very important at the moment that you use this spreadsheet of wax foundation. If it was old and stay difficult for handling, we need to spread some water and put not directly under the sun, but in a room temperature, that the wax will be flexible. This is very important for we handling the wax. If you put this spreadsheet of wax foundation inside the fridge, inside the refrigerator, it will stay heavy. And anytime that you touch, you will broken a piece. It's not possible. We need to work with this wax at the moment that it will be very flexible with a good elasticity for we handling without scare for broken the material. I will show you how to insert the wire on the frame and how to insert the wax foundation in the wire. Come. For adding the wire on the wood frame, we need first to crossing the wire between the eyelets, across the eyelets, on the both side bars of the frame. After we adjust the size of the wire, we need to tie the first part of the wire and tie in the first line of wire. we need to use it, a device for producing the pressure for change the position of the both side bars of the frame. After we put this pressure, we need to tie the wire at the last part of the frame. And when we remove the pressure from the device, naturally the wire will have a correct tension. For adding the wax foundation on the frames, we need to follow the other steps. First, adjust the wax foundation on the frames using as support wood. Second, you use it for create a short circuit battery that have around 12 volts, and when you touch all parts of the battery, we create a short circuit that will produce heat on the wire when we will add together in both parts, and the wax will be melt and stay fixing on the wire. Next, for finish the operation, we need to use pure wax, whole wax, with water in a pot that we will put on the stove. And when the wax will be melt, we use it for close the system on the top of the wax foundation, and then we have a security that the wax foundation will be fixed on the wire and on the frame. This is the result. The wax foundation fixed on the wire, and now it's strong for the beekeeper handling without any problem to broken the wax. This kind of wax, the bees will build, continue the construction, and they will produce the cells. And anytime that the bees needs to build new frames from the wax foundation, they spend around from 8 to 10 kg of honey, eating this quantity of honey for produce wax through 4 pairs of glands that they have on the abdomen. This is the result. This cell, this size of cell, belongs to hybrid bees, mainly the breeds from Europe, from European bees that measure around 5.5 millimeters. For example, for Geminitica bees, that it's the local bee from the Yemen, from Oman, from here, from Saudi Arabia, the size of the cell is around 4.89 millimeters. Then we need to choose the size of the cell depending of which kind of bee breed you will use it. And we have in our country suppliers of wax foundation for give to you for cells with a big size and a small size for Geminitica breed, that is a small bee. After I have my hive already prepared, I have the bees, I have the location, independent the origin of the stand, we can use for support the hives wood stands, concrete stands, and metal stands, as is very usual and common in our country. But independent of the type of the stand, I need to pay attention in something very, very important. We use a tool to measure the level of the hive that needs to be a little bit down on the front side in relation from the back side. That's why the bubble inside the tool needs to be higher for the back, as you can see here, the bubble. If the bubble is going for in front of the hive and is not in equilibrium inside the mark, the hive is in a position that is wrong. And if there is some rain here, the water can come inside. We know that in our country we have a few days only with rain. But if rain, the water will come inside the hive. Then we need to install the hive in a position that if rain, the water will be draining from outside the hive. Another position, very, very important, is that hive needs to be in the same level side by side. If the hive is in this position or this position, we will have a big problem during the time that the bees will start to build the wax foundation and change in a wax comb. They will build outside the wires and they will start to put comb very close, another comb, and the bee space that we talked with you before will be not used inside the hive. Then we need to verify and check exactly that the bubble here on the device will be exactly at the middle, at the center of the mark. Not for this side, not for this side. We need this side exactly as you are seeing. It's very, very important. Independent of kind of stand you use it, you need to master all time this detail. For example, this is perfect. The bubble is inside the mark without any problem. After we prepare the frames, it's important we mark our material because we spend money for purchase the box, we spend our manpower, we spend our time, and we need to mark our material. The first thing is insert in the front of the box some symbols, some logos and or letters that the bee can know as their house, for not losing the position and enter in another hive. Mainly in this country that it's very usual to use collective stands with one box here, another box very closed, another one closed as well, and the bees can be confused and enter in another hive. Then we need to mark in front with some symbols that the bees can understand. Mark with fire on the woods for who belongs this material. In our case, ATF, Altaiba Farm, and this material we received in 2021. All frames, all boxes are marked, and in the back we have the number for control, for do the inventory, for create a table, for create a spreadsheet of control of the handlings. It's very important. Then when I will use it, collective stands, not individual stands, and the hives will stay in this position very close each other. We need to add some symbols and some letters that the bees can't read. For example, this first line we have V, X, Y, T, Z, O, different letters in the same line. The bees will understand that their hive is this, not this, because the symbol. They can understand very easily the logo of a square, a triangle, but the letters we can use as well, as you are seeing in the first line on the top, the second line until the third line, that we arrange for show you the difference between the letters, and the bees can know exactly where is their house. This is all for today. Shukran and see you very soon. Bye.